Hey everybody, this is Rob and Jordan, and we are back for Archangel Inc. Live number, gosh, Jordan, what is this,
We
35?
are 35. I mean, isn't that
35.
awesome?
That's
Using
incredible.
35 weeks is
35
just
weeks of
crazy
it.
because I feel like
I,
we just started this.
I know. I think the only week we took off was like around the holidays, 1 week. I think we were even close to either Christmas or Thanksgiving or something.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, but it's good to be here. We're closing in on a year. We got a few more months yet, but that's cool. And tonight we're talking about what I think is a pretty cool topic, something that I am interested to learn more about and get your insight about. And I think there are a lot of people out there who might benefit from this as well, and that is Amazon advertising. So, do you have anything you want to start off with sharing here, Jordan?
No, I think we can definitely jump right into it. The only thing I would say off the bat is don't. Uh, what's the right way to say this? There's a lot of people out there that kind of have this mindset of Amazon ads and the ad doesn't work. It's too expensive. Amazon won't show my book. And I think that certainly has been the case for a lot of people.
Right.
But there are some strategies you can use to hopefully get Amazon to notice your book. Now, there's sometimes you're going to do everything you can do, and Amazon's going to be like not interested in advertising that. For whatever reason, they're not going to show your book. You're not going to get the impressions. But there are some strategies you can use to up your chances, and that's what we're all about anyway, Rob. Just helping you to put your best foot forward. We can't control the outcome, but there are a lot of steps we can take just to get a leg up and to hopefully make it better. Make Amazon notice us.
Right, exactly. At the end of the day, again, we don't have control over what the buying public does and what Amazon does, really with some of this. But our goal is to get everything aligned as much as we can in our favor, to control what we can control. And I think that's a great point. The advertising sort of arena seems a little intimidating. It seems like, gosh, I don't want to just sink money into this. Maybe the project is not very profitable yet, and I don't want to make it even less profitable by spending what little I get on ads if it's not actually going to convert to anything. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, how to avoid overstepping your bounds, how to navigate and take judicious steps in maximizing your chances of a return. So I think this is cool, and that is our topic here: Amazon advertising for books. Where to start? Now, one thing I do want to mention, Jordan, and this is something that we had talked about. We're going to assume, for the purposes of this discussion here, that you have some keywords ready already. Next week, I think we'll be going over that because it's an important topic, and we've covered it a little bit. We do have a demo that we've done, Publisher Rocket, but we can kind of get into that a little bit more and talk about it specifically for Amazon ads in next week's episode. But for this episode, we're going to assume that we have at least a handful of keywords. We have an idea of what sort of things we're going to use. And we're just going to kind of walk through the process and talk about kind of strategy, how to approach it, and the mechanics of setting these ads up. So I think that's a good preamble. Is there anything else I've forgotten here, Jordan?
No, I think that's it. We did get a comment. Jim is saying hi, so I just want to make sure we notice that. Hi, Jim. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you. But yeah, other than that, I'm good, Rob.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for stopping in, Jim. Appreciate the comments, and happy to answer questions as we go along here as best we can.
Yep.
So, all right. As we get started here, there's something that we wanted to mention too. Amazon is not the only form of advertising that you can use. There are a couple of other ones. And what other ads can you use instead? There are things like Facebook ads. There are Google ads and Bookbub ads. So Amazon's not the only game in town. But do you have anything you want to share on any of those other options, Jordan?
No, I did. We just wanted to share that there are other options for advertising your books and your offers on your website. There's a lot of advertising out there. And I think, they all work. Authors have success with them. Business people have success with these. They may not all work for your specific purposes. And that's where I think it's worth your time to delve into each one and figure out, okay, is this really going to be the best avenue? Is our Facebook ads going to really be the best avenue for me launching a book? Well, it depends. If you're offering it as a free offer to your website, maybe. If you're selling your book only on Amazon and you're using Facebook to send traffic to Amazon, maybe maybe not as good as Amazon ads or something else. But it just depends on what you're offering. But there are a lot of other ad services out there that you can consider and look into. Especially if you're doing a launch, it never hurts to have it hit, to hit it from different angles. But we do, what we're going to jump into talking to just next here is what makes Amazon ads the best option. So if you're thinking about what your options are, what makes Amazon stand out? Well, the main reason is that people are already on Amazon, maybe already have things in their shopping cart. They're ready to buy. They're looking for books just like yours. And maybe they had never heard of you before. Maybe they have. Maybe they've seen your name and they come across an ad and they go and buy your book. But they're there ready to purchase. They're not on Facebook, searching for other things related to social media and all that. I think a lot of people on social media aren't necessarily ready to buy, and you're interrupting them to bring them over to Amazon to purchase something from you. And that can be profitable. It can be, but it's just harder to make that. I think you really need to make sure your offer is on point and everything is really set up perfectly to be able to optimize that and to be able to have those conversions at a rate that's not going to make you go bankrupt.
Right.
As opposed to Amazon, and why Amazon's the best is because people are right there and you're not pulling them away. It's right there on Amazon.
Yeah, and you're working in alignment with the goals of Amazon advertising. They're already a marketplace. They want you to be buying on their marketplace, and so set up to facilitate that versus something like Facebook. I know we run into issues even just linking out to outside YouTube videos or content elsewhere. Facebook really tends to de-emphasize the posts that send people somewhere else, and so they want you on their platform. They want you staying on their platform. The advantage of having an advertising campaign run on Amazon's own platform is they're perfectly happy to make sure that you stay there, and they want you to affect that sale. So it's going to lead into that versus somewhere else where they're not the marketplace that the end result is coming from.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's important to consider here, Rob, is that and in the overall picture is that we're not advertising huge offers. We're advertising books. And you can only sell a book for so much, especially on the Amazon platform. Right. So when you're thinking of the PPC, the amount you're paying per click on a Facebook ad is going to be higher, especially if you're sending people away from Facebook. Because again, Facebook doesn't want that. Facebook wants to keep people there, and so does Amazon. Amazon wants to keep you right there. And with the way that we have things set up, we can set our bids, our PPC bids at a lower point so that hopefully we can get enough of a conversion to make money on that. And that's where it's really hard. I mean, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, and I've struggled with that myself, and really trying to optimize that, because you're dealing with very thin margins when it comes to a $2.99 book. Even if you are doing a $9.99 Kindle book, or let's say a $13 or $15 paperback, you're still dealing with pretty slim margins when you're thinking your royalty is going to be from anywhere from $5 to $7. That's not a lot of wiggle room when you're thinking of making every click valuable. Because you think if you spend a certain amount on 10 clicks, I mean, if you have one person buy for every 10 clicks, that's in every other place, that's great. But if you're spending 50 cents a click, that may not be good enough. You may have to get even a little bit better than that. And that's where I think a lot of authors and people that try this platform can get discouraged really quickly. And I get that, but hopefully what we're going to show you is just a way to set up campaigns so you're not spending a ton and just hoping that it's going to work out.
Yep, exactly. And Jim mentions, I just started Amazon advertising about 6 weeks ago. From KDP. Last month was his first month. I'm old school, cannot fathom Facebook. Furthermore, I feel AMS is a more direct way, more targeted way, and it's extra effort to get buyers off of other platforms. And yes, all of that is very true. I think it's a good point as well, Jordan, that you made, which is when you're working with Amazon, particularly with Amazon Kindle, the way they have their royalty structure set up, it really does kind of limit you. You're kind of hamstrung a little bit. You just can't pump unlimited amounts of funds and hope to make up in volume what you're spending on advertising. If you're doing a $100 product or a $500 product or a $10,000 product or something, if you spend a few $1,000s in generating a click, maybe that's worth it. But if you spend a few $1,000s on on getting a handful of $2.99 book sales, man, that is a rough proposition. I hope that you have lots of discretionary income for,
Yes.
for advertising. So yeah, all really good, important points. So cool. All right, and let's see. So that's the first section here. People are on Amazon and they are ready to buy, and I think that's generally true. When people search for it, I know when I do, it's I'm prepared to open my wallet, or in my case, just go to my cart because it already has all that stuff pre-built inside, and I know what I'm looking for. Versus if I'm on YouTube or elsewhere on Google, kind of just looking for information or free content or something. Next thing, it is easy to set up and manage, and we will get into that a little bit here with our demo. And finally, you can target books and other authors as well as keywords. So that's pretty cool. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Amazon lets you can use other authors as keywords, and that's something that I'm guessing we'll dive into more next week when we share a little bit more about how to find keywords. But yeah, you can target other books in your genre and other authors as well. You can actually have ads. If I were to put my book up as an ad and be like, I want, if people are going to search Rob Archangel, I want my book to be right there too, because the people that are searching for Rob are going to want to read my stuff too. Now you're going to want to find authors that are directly in your genre. But yeah, you can put them in there and actually pay for people to click or to put an ad for when people are searching that author's name. Because there are people that are searching for, hey, I want to see if my favorite author has a new book out there.
Yeah.
And they may be in that mode of they put that name in and then, oh, actually that book looks pretty good. That book looks interesting. I'd rather get that one. And they may go check out your book.
Yep.
So yeah, Amazon lets you do that, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really neat feature, and it allows you to piggyback on top of the existing platform that's there. And also, I mean, even not thinking about it cynically or manipulatively, that you're taking advantage of other authors who already have built up a followership. Maybe you're in that space as well, and you say, hey, I really respect Jordan. I really love these sorts of mindset books, and he's been an inspiration and a motivation for the writing that I do.
Well, thanks, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Jordan. It's great. I'm so happy that I'm able to exist in the same genre and to say to the people who are in your audience, who are also me, maybe I'm part of that audience, or the group of people that I'm looking to speak to. Hey, I love this content. I'm familiar with this content. I've got a new take on it. I've got some variation on it, some deepening, some further exploration into this arena, and I want to find those people. I want to find the people who already know and love the sort of content that I know and love, and am creating more around.
Yep.
Cool. So number 3 here, how to set up and log in. So you must go through the KDP dashboard, and I think that's a good segue here for us going through a little demo. So do you have that pulled up, Jordan? Is there anything you need on my end here?
I am good to go. I just shared it with you. So let me know when it's live, and I'll click over to my screen. You let me know when it's live, so we don't get that whatever that effect's called.
I think we're good. So we've got our dashboard here.
Good deal. And, if anyone recognizes the Kindle KDP dashboard, I'm just on the bookshelf section. And then you can just scroll down to whichever book you want to advertise. So we'll just go for this one right here, Volcanic Momentum. And then it probably will be up right here. You can see that for the other books down here, that it's already up and ready to go in this. If for some reason it's not, sometimes there are different options right here. You can click in this little bubble and then click this promote and advertise. So what that's going to do is that's going to put you on a separate screen on the KDP dashboard. And you're going to have to go down, run an ad campaign, and then make sure you choose your marketplace. You can actually run ads for multiple different marketplaces. Amazon just recently, in the past, I would say 6 months or so, has added UK and I believe that's Germany, and then some other websites as well that you can do. If you feel obliged to do that. But we're just talking about the Amazon.com. So make sure you click that. Sometimes it's confusing because it already says Amazon.com when you're there, but then this is grayed out. So you do have to go in here and click this. Sometimes I've been staring at it like, what? But yeah, so Amazon.com, create an ad campaign. And then that's going to pop you up to the Amazon advertising page. And it's just going to pop you up to this choose a campaign type. Now it's probably going to prompt you to enter payment details. You may already have those associated with your Amazon account, but you do need to go in there and set that. I'm not going to go to my screen or your screen in this case, Rob, because it might display some information that we don't want to share live, like credit card information and that. But you do want to go to billing and payments and then set your payment, and then make sure you hit the button that says set as payment method. That can get confusing sometimes. If you don't hit that set, you can put all your information in and then not hit that set as payment method, and then you won't be able to run campaigns. And actually, it used to, and I don't know if it will anymore, but it used to not even tell you what you were doing wrong. It just didn't work, and you had to go in and it was a blank screen, loading screen. Amazon wouldn't actually tell you that you didn't have a payment method. I think now it prompts you.
Right.
They've done some upgrading to. What's that?
No good. Try again. What do I try? I don't know. Try it again.
Yeah, it's just do that again. Whatever you did. They have improved their dashboard. I won't say immensely. They've improved their dashboard slightly over the past few years. There are things you can do that you would never be able to do before that are just make it a lot better, and the tracking's better than it used to be. So that's how you set it up. I think I don't remember our next bullet point, Rob, but I'll go into our account here. And did you have any questions about that process?
No. Getting in? So basically, you have your listing already on KDP. You click on that. You figure out which marketplace you want to be on. Make sure that you've got your payment set up, or payment and billing information set up, and then you click through. Is that?
Yep. And so we're on your account right now. This is just showing for the published professional. Cool. Now we did ads. This is just a date range of showing this month. Now we started and set up ads about a year ago and haven't done much to them. You can see 4/12/19. That's the last time we went in. So definitely when you're doing this, you want to update more than once a year. So that's certainly a lesson we can share through something that we're doing. So I think it would definitely be worth it, Rob, for us to go back in here and update things and just update author keywords and all of that. Make sure we're having everything as up to date as possible. But that's kind of where we are right now.
Yep.
We don't have a portfolio set up because, like I was just sharing it before, that wasn't even an option. So this is a new option. And this is a really important feature to note before we get into creating campaigns, because you can, once you create portfolios, you can actually set your budget limit on that. So you can say, I'm going to make this portfolio. You could do the published professional, new, and then maybe date it, and then actually make a range, a budget range of say $200 a month or $300 a month. And Amazon won't spend more than that. Right. So it's a really nice way of pooling it all together. Before, you had to limit each campaign. It was really tough to manage and monitor how much your campaigns were spending. Some days you'd log in like, whoa, that one just spent, $10-20. That doesn't happen as often anymore, and it's much easier to manage in a portfolio. I know that can be another huge fear. That's one thing we get a lot of questions about when we set these up for people, for our authors, is, hey, what's it going to spend? Whenever you're putting your credit card information in something, if you can't limit it, it's like, am I just giving this and it's going to be this unlimited ad spend? How do I know this is going to be profitable for me?
Yeah, Amazon's just going to take my money like an ATM,
yeah,
$5, $10, $20, $100 a day, and all of a sudden you've lost your house.
Yes, and yeah, the way the portfolios are nice because that's something that it's a safeguard against that. And the way we recommend setting up our campaigns is just a slower tweaking model where we're not spending a ton of money, and we certainly can try to spend more if it's going well, and that's definitely recommended. Right. But yeah, it's not something where you have to. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have a benchmark of something that you recommend a day, like $1 a day? I've heard, 50 cents a day, $5 a day. I mean, partly, I would imagine it depends on your budget, but is there a good place to start out with as you're figuring out what's profitable and what potentially has some return on it that you use as a benchmark?
Yeah, honestly, if I'm doing a launch, I will put the PPC bids up higher just because I want it to display more. But for the most part, even though we talk about setting that cap and that being a concern for a lot of people, it's actually not necessarily a concern as far as spending goes. It can be very difficult to get Amazon to spend your money, which is weird for an ad platform to say, but that's been my experience with it, and other people have said the same thing. Hey, I wish I wish Amazon would just spend my money in this and display my ad more. But that's the biggest issue and barrier to overcome with Amazon ads, is actually getting it to display your ad. Once it does, then you can put limits on those. But for the most part, if you're spending, let's say $100 a month is something you can do, 100 or 200. It's just hard to say exactly what the range is, because you want to base what you're spending on how well it's performing. And it can only, you just kind of have to go with what it's giving you. So not the best answer for that. But you just want to make more important than how much you're actually spending is this number right here. And I do want to talk about the terms too.
Cool.
So
yeah, great. So yeah, let's that's number 4 here, a rundown of dashboard in terms. So let's jump right into that.
Cool. Yeah, and we're going to show you, because I want to show you how to make campaigns and just go over the different campaigns that we suggest. And we're not going to put the keywords in and everything, because we'll talk more about how to find the keywords next week, like we said. But yeah, we are going to show you how to just the run through of what that making the campaign looks like. So yeah, so as far as the terms go up here, this spend right here, that's pretty obvious. And then before you even look at this, make sure that this date range is where you want it right here. You can just click the date range and then make sure it's at this month or whatever else you're looking at there.
Sure.
So spend, that's what it's spent in total this month. Sales, that's your total sales amount. That's not royalty, that's on sales. Okay. So I can see just by this number, knowing what your book is priced at, $9.99, that this has sold 2 paperbacks. Okay. So I can just know that. There's no way to check that. If this number, I believe your Kindle, I'm not sure, I think your Kindle price is $3. Is that maybe correct, Rob?
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, if it's $3, then and let's say there was a Kindle sale, then this would be like $22.99 or $22.97 or something. Then I could know there's 2 paperbacks and a Kindle sale. Unfortunately, there's no better way to break that down. Amazon won't display that for you. Yeah. But that's just the total number, the total sales. So just think about that as what Amazon is getting when people buy. That's not going to be your royalty. So you do have to take the number out of that. Right. And that's why this number right here is really helpful. So this is the ACOS, or average cost of sales. That's what ACOS stands for, average cost of sales. So right now it's at that 24.62%. So what that is basically it's helping you to determine how profitable your campaigns are. So just for example, because your book is at $2.99, so you get 70% of that as far as royalty goes. So if we were only advertising your Kindle book, then all we would need this number to be is below 70%. But when you add the paperback in, you get 60% of the royalty after the printing costs. So that comes out to around 40 to 50, depending on the price of the book. So as far as a paperback goes, you want this to be around, if it was only paperbacks, you'd want it to be around 40 to 50. So to play it safe, anything under 40 is probably great. If you're within the 40 to 60 range, it could be okay. It just depends. If you're at 60% and you're selling all paperbacks, then your campaigns could actually not be profitable, depending. Right. You just want to kind of compare this with your with your KDP dashboard and see, okay, this last month I had this. Maybe I kind of have a general idea of I was getting sales before I started advertising, so I can kind of minus those out. That you kind of have to do some math and figure out yourself. As much as this dashboard is there to help you, it's not perfect as far as determining all the information. You kind of have to do a little bit of your own digging. And what would a perfect dashboard look like? I would imagine at least one thing would be that kind of breakdown. Another thing potentially, and this is something that is an offer in general, but would be having access to who actually purchased the book, and to know, how many of your ads they saw before they purchased, was it one time, which specific ad they saw, all of those things, as far as I understand, are not accessible with Amazon. Is that right? No, yeah, you can't really see any of that stuff. Yeah. So Amazon just wants you to keep spending your money, and as long as they're keeping the ACOS at a reasonable rate, they're thinking, well, on the aggregate, it's worth it for you to just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I always thought it was funny, Rob, about all these things we do. we put our books on Amazon, and then we also pay Amazon money to advertise our books on Amazon. We pay Amazon to help Amazon make more money, but it is what it is. We do what we can, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then plus the fact that, at least the digital, there's pretty low overhead, but for the print edition, they're taking their margins off of the retail price, and then subtracting the cost of printing. So, it's for this reason, it can be a little difficult. You see these numbers and you're like, oh, this is sweet. I have a book I'm selling for, $15 this paperback, and I'm going to get 60% of it. That means that, I'm going to have $7.50 per copy or something like that. But it doesn't always work that way. There are other things that happen. And then, you're also looking at the advertising. So we say all this not to discourage or discount, the possibility of actually being profitable running this. I think it is very possible, as we mentioned in our email, but there are a number of different factors involved. So go into it with as much knowledge as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And I'll just finish up the rest of these things. Impressions this is how many times total it's being shown to people across Amazon. And then you can go into ad metrics and you can just look at any other metrics. I like to have clicks on there too. Oh, cool. This is how many times people clicked on your ad. And then, sorry, I have to X out of that. And then we'll just go through here. Yeah, impressions, clicks. Shows you the cost per click, which is nice just to see. Click-through rate. So this is just clicks, 38 clicks out of 174,000 impressions. So that's that number. And then we have sales we showed, and then orders. So that's basically showing out of 38 people clicking on the book, only 2 people ordered. Okay. So that's definitely, and that's another thing. This might be going off a tangent, but I do think it's an important note. So I'll say it as quick as I can. I think it's an important, we talk about Amazon doesn't give us a lot of information, but the cool thing about ads is we can see this right here, Rob. We can see that we sent 38 people to our Amazon book page, and then 2 of them purchased. So that's something to think about. Okay, if only 2 people purchase, are we thinking that's good? Or do we want to look at that and maybe look at the sales copy or potentially tweak some other things? Right. Is that something we could tweak? If you're getting really high numbers here, hey, my page is working great. I can maybe afford to spend more money on ads or up my bids on certain things. So this is a really important metric right here. That's really cool because you can't get this otherwise. It's only, if you're sending traffic to Amazon, you can track your sales, but unless unless on such and such a day, you're only sending Facebook traffic and exactly how many people are going to your Amazon page, and you can match that up with orders. Now, potentially you could do that, but that's harder because you just don't know. Maybe Amazon displayed your book to someone else that day. Who knows? Yeah. But this shows you some good information right here that you can potentially work on. Yeah. Now, with such a low number, 38, who knows? We don't, two out of 38 may be really good. In this case, yeah, it may not be the worst thing in the world, but if you started to get up into the hundreds of clicks and maybe you only had a handful of orders, that's definitely something to consider because you're definitely you're not going to make your money if you're getting 3 orders out of 100 clicks or say. Right. But once you have that information, you can then go and use that and maybe tweak some things or just make some edits and see what you can do. Yeah, cool. The other thing I was thinking of just. Potentially, this isn't integrated in the same way, but if you had an email app and you're driving traffic over that way, you can often track click-throughs based on that. But then again, you don't know, which of the specific people actually, went there. Anyway. That was an aside. I did just think that was an important thing to know because if you're doing your ads and you're looking at, okay, are they working? What can I be looking at? This is a really good place to start. How many orders are you getting out of clicks? How is there a ballpark figure for a good conversion percentage? Like I said, in this case, this is about 5%. If it were 40, it'd be exactly 5% of the people clicking through in this case are making a purchase. Is that typical? Is that on the low range? Is that on the high range? What can people expect? How can they put that in context? Yeah, I think probably the highest range you're going to get is around that 10%. Like that would be really good. Yep. I think anywhere from 3 to 5 is going to be pretty average, and it probably depends across genres. I remember looking at my numbers, and I remember it being 3 to 5% for different books. And that was helpful just to see, okay, what's really working here.
Right.
But yeah, I would say, you know, if you're hitting that 5%, that's pretty good.
Cool. Good deal.
Cool.
Right. So got a question. Jim mentioned, don't forget the VAT deduction for each billing period. So if you're overseas, that's the VAT tax. And then he asks, is there an industry standard for good click-through rate? Do you know, guys? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's kind of what we were just talking about. So click-through rate in terms of actually affecting a sale, 3 to 5%. It sounds like is about average. So if you can do a little bit better than that, then you might be overperforming, and that could be a good thing and worth looking into scaling up.
Yep. And then as far as like, so yeah, that's orders out of clicks. And then he may have been wondering too about click-through rate, clicks to impressions. That can get confusing. You would probably want your clicks to impressions to be 1 out of every 1,000. So we're a little bit lower than that. 1 out of every 1,000 seems to be what I've heard and what I've seen to be really good. So if people are clicking on that, which still seems, I mean, you think 1 out of 1,000, that just seems so low. Right. But people know, I think people know that sponsored ads are sponsored ads. So some people just have blinders up to that. So, and
if you think about it yourself too, I mean, if I think about it myself, I scroll right past sponsored ads. I'll see 5 or 6 of them, you know, on the page. If I'm looking for something else, if I scroll right past, you know, that's 5 impressions that are just being ignored. I could easily, if I'm spending a few minutes on Amazon, go through 50 of those, you know, and so that high volume seems easier to understand in context. You know, if you're looking at 50 people, each of them ignoring or at least getting impressed, getting 50 impressions each, you know, it can start to add up pretty quickly.
Yep, and that's just another thing to look at when you're thinking about tweaking your ads and really making them work for you. Think about that at every level. Okay, if what is my click-through rate on the actual ad? So maybe that's what I need to work on. Okay, but maybe my click-through rate is really good. Almost everyone that's seeing the ad is going and clicking to my page, but then they get to my books page and then they're not buying from there. So that's where you would want to look at your tweaking efforts. Right. So you definitely use their information to make some of your decisions, which is really helpful.
So would that tell you something like that? Let's say people are clicking through and they're not actually buying. To me, that says that your title, maybe your subtitle and your cover are probably pretty good, but there's something about your actual sales page, probably the copy or potentially bad reviews that are discouraging people. Would that be your interpretation as well?
Yes. And yeah, definitely. So the good news about that is, you know, you can't change your title, and I think you could probably change your cover, but you don't necessarily want to get into that if you've already spent the time getting your cover. I mean, it's certainly something you could do, but yeah, you're right, Rob. That's a really good point. So that's where tweaking that sales copy, and then maybe getting more reviews on your books page or adding some editorial reviews. So making those kind of tweaks to your page would be kind of what you're looking at. Because you're right. Yeah. If they clicked on your ad, they were at least somewhat interested to see what you were about and what your book's about.
Yep. And then there's something that didn't quite seal the deal for them. So how you can, that it's a good opportunity to think about reverse engineering and figuring out what that might be so you can get better results. Yeah.
And again, that's why I think Amazon ads are really valuable to book marketing and launch in general, is because so many other avenues of marketing and bringing people to your Amazon page, you're not going to get the same information as easily as this to know where you need to tweak. And this could pretty much tell you right away that, hey, you know, don't spend a bunch of money on Facebook ads or anything else, because you're seeing right here, maybe you're seeing that your book, people aren't buying once they get to the page. So that's something to work on first, and then update that and do the best you can to work on that, and then spend more time marketing.
Great. Cool. All right. So run down.
Go ahead.
Dashboard. Yeah. Dashboard in terms, it looks like the next thing that might be what you're getting to is what are the 3 types of campaigns that you'd recommend running? Is that what you were about to head over to?
Yep. So I'm going to click on create a campaign.
Cool.
And then we'll talk about those 3. I'll show you how to make each 3. You're going to click on sponsored ads. Sorry, I did that really quick. Let me go back. My bad.
No, that's okay.
Choose your campaign type, sponsored products, and then continue. I don't mess with the lock screen ads much. I think that certainly you probably could add that. It's just not something I use. I focus mostly on the keywords. That's where I found the most effectiveness to be.
Yep.
But certainly, if you have the time and want to dabble with it, it doesn't hurt to add more into here.
Right. And the lock screen ads, for people who aren't familiar, the Kindle typically offers two different versions of their device, their Kindle reading device, one of them with ads and one of them without. And then the with ads device will feature, as you open it up, usually a cover image, some sort of image, and then you can click through and then go right to the purchase page. And that's before somebody's even able to access their own Kindle device. So there's always some sort of advertising that they're being offered as they go to read something. So that's what the lock screen ads are for folks who haven't experienced them before.
Cool. All right, then we'll just click on continue here and sponsored products. And then, yeah, this is the whole create campaign screen. I'll just scroll down here quick so you can see it, and then we'll go in here. So basically, Rob, I'll go over real quick how to create each of the three.
Okay.
So we'll start with the first one right off the bat. These are really easy ones to create. They don't take a lot of time. You can do them probably in under 5 minutes. You can create them for your book. So we will just do what I would do here for your book. We do auto, and then the published professional. I'd like to just keep it short like that, and then print. That's all you have to do. I used to put dates in here. You don't really need to do that because you can see when it was started. It has a start date of May 21st. I try to keep these as clean as I can, just to not have it be cluttered, and you can see that.
Yep. Daily
budget, I always put at least 20. You might have to up that with auto campaigns. It just depends. But yeah, put it at least 20. When you're first starting out, it's probably not going to spend this much, but it's a good range to start it at. And you're going to keep this, click on automatic targeting. Amazon is just going to automatically target keywords and products that are similar to the product in your ad. And then as far as campaign bidding strategy, you're going to click this second one. And these are different ways that Amazon can bid on your account. I always choose the second one because it just gives Amazon the flexibility to go up and down when their system thinks there's going to be a conversion. Now, I don't know how they get that information. Maybe it just depends on if someone has bought a lot of similar books in the past. Amazon knows that in their data and says, hey, this person just clicked on your book. They just went on a buying frenzy. We're gonna send them a click to your ad. Even you're gonna spend maybe twice as much as normal on this ad, but we have a higher likelihood that they're gonna follow through and buy your book. So we're gonna display it to them, but we're gonna have you spend a little bit more. So I let Amazon do that up and down. Also, the other end of the spectrum, if they're like, if Amazon thinks that your person's not necessarily going to convert, then they may bid down for you. So that can be helpful too.
And so explain the bids, if you would. So what does that mean?
Sure. It's basically, it's a kind of behind the scenes auctioning. So if you typed in a keyword, if you wanted to type in how to make money on Kindle or something, there's going to be a ton of people that are going to have that, potentially have that keyword, how to make money on Kindle or something like that. They're going to be advertising for that. So you have to, and Amazon does this for you in the background based on your settings. You have to bid on that, basically auction for a spot. So if you if you're going to be on the first page for that keyword, potentially even higher up on the screen, or maybe it's going to be the first result, you're going to pay more for that. That is going to be a higher value bid. So that's where the bidding is. It's something that is done in the background by Amazon, and you set your range on what you'd like it to be, and they'll display your ad for you.
Got it. So when I see 5 different sponsored products on my page, let's say they were all competing for how to make money on Kindle, and somebody says, okay, I'll pay 5 cents, another person says I'll pay 6 and 10 and 15 and 20, and then somebody else says I'll pay $1 for it. Then the $1 on down would be the winning bids in that case, and that's what each of those impressions would cost. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So that is the basis of it. It is a lot more complicated than that, and we don't even know all the details on how it works. Right. Because there are times where you can bid, you could potentially bid $2 on a keyword, And because of relevancy and because of the Amazon algorithms, they're not going to show your ad because for whatever reason, Amazon's like, no, this doesn't connect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. It's just, if you're thinking, Amazon always wants to put the customer first. So if your book is on fishing tackle and you're putting a bid on how to make money on Kindle, Amazon doesn't want people to be to be shown your ad because it's not relevant to the customer, and their experience is going to be weird. Why am I seeing ads about fish tackle? That's not even close to what I was searching. So if you're thinking about it,
organic rice, what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. So if you're thinking about it in extreme terms like that, that's kind of why it's set up the way it does, the way it is. But Amazon definitely takes that very seriously, and that's why it can be hard to get any. This way it can be hard for some people to get traction with Amazon ads because Amazon kind of has its own mind on what they're going to display.
Got it. Okay. We have a question here from Jim. Do you have separate campaigns for Kindle and print of the same book in order to decipher the sales stats better? I noticed you used the word print in this campaign name.
Yes. So every campaign that you do, you're going to do it for one for a print book and one for the ebook.
Okay. Got it.
I do that every time just because, if you're thinking about, you're sending people. So you can get sales on a Kindle book even through a print campaign. But basically it's just an additional, you're basically doubling down on this with this approach. So yeah, you want to do it for both. Because what it does is it'll send people to the print books page. Even though that their pages are merged, there's the print option is going to be the option that people are seeing without having to go and click on Kindle version. So that's the difference right there. It's basically you're sending them to the same place, but the option that they have to purchase, if it's this print campaign and they click on your ad, they're going to be shown the print page first
as the default for it.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. All right. So we've talked about dynamic bids. They can go up and down. And next thing is ad format.
Yep. Ad format. So in this case, I often with the automatic ads, I just do standard. So what that means is that Amazon is just going to display it without custom text, without copy. Now, when I do the other types, I'll add in custom text. But for the auto ads, when I'm doing auto ads, I just want Amazon to kind of do its thing. That's the whole purpose of these. And there's only so much tweaking you can do with these. So that's why they're quick to set up. And then sometimes they either work or they don't.
Right.
And then add group name. This is actually completely new to me, Rob. I haven't seen this yet. So they do add things, which is really nice. I think this is probably just a way of organizing what ads you have going on here. So we can just skip that for now. If anyone has any questions on that, definitely let us know. If anyone's used this section for deciphering and kind of organizing things, let us know. I think for the most part, you can organize things within your portfolio too, so you don't necessarily need that.
Okay, cool.
And if you have multiple books, you just want to search for the one you want to do. Hopefully I'm spelling that right. Yep. So you would just add this one here. You can see that's the print edition. Just let's see, you can know the print edition because of, basically I just know because of the price. That's how I would know. I think that's the only, I don't know if there's any other way you would know that. It doesn't say Kindle or paperback. Yeah, just by the price. And then automatic targeting again. And then you would do, I usually just start out with 50 cents and kind of let it go from there. Cool. Okay, so that's the auto. We'll scroll back up and I'll show you what we would do for the next level. So again, I would do this for print and then go back through and do it for ebook as well. And then just change the name to ebook.
Right.
Then the next level, you're going to want to do your targeted keywords. So these are the keywords that really relate. And we'll get into more about keywords, but really you're just going to go and do TPP targeted. And you can name these whatever you want. This is just the way for you to, just one way to organize things. You can spell things right too, if you want. TPT targeted 1, and it depends. Lots of times when I'm finding direct targeted keywords, I'll find right around 3,000. But if you can find more than that, that's great. So when you find 3,000, you're going to need to create 3 campaigns for each version of your book, because you can only put 1,000 keywords into those campaigns. Into each campaign.
You can actually just bulk drop 1,000 different words that are potentially related to your book into these as you're building your keyword
Yep.
database. Okay.
Yep. So you would want to find a lot of targeted ones.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that you think is anywhere near your book, a great way to find that is Publisher Rocket. But yeah, like we said, we'll talk more about that. So as you can keep the same daily budget.
And so tell me more about that daily budget. So you say $20 a day. They're probably not going to spend that much, but if you are concerned, you now have this option at the previous screen to say, listen, no more than $100 a month, total, something like that. If you are concerned about overspending.
Yeah. So you could lower each campaign to, I only want this campaign to spend $1 a day. Mm-hmm. But I don't like to do that because I don't want to give Amazon a reason to not display my ads. Mm-hmm. And if Amazon could think, they only have $5 a day, I don't want to start displaying this ad because then what if you get a bunch of clicks at once? Well, how are they going to manage that? Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about if you want to maximize your impressions, you really do need to have that daily budget higher. Mm-hmm. Now and that's where if you're worried about how much you're spending, that portfolio just makes a lot more sense to be able to manage that.
Right. And you get charged on the clicks, not the impressions, or both. How does that work?
Just clicks.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. All right. So yeah, daily budget 20, just keep that. And then you're going to switch over to manual targeting. Keep this campaign strategy the same right there. Switch this over to custom ad text. And then we would say you actually want to put this print in so it's the print one. Add the print book in there. And then this is where you're going to add your keywords. And an important note is you're going to want to go down to keyword targeting right here. Make sure that's selected. We're not going to do this product targeting. We're going to do keyword targeting. Mm-hmm. And then keyword targeting here. And then you want to hit this enter list. And then do a couple things here. You're going to want to take out phrase and exact. And then just keep this broad because you want Amazon to take even some of the words and this potentially display ads on those. You could do exact if you wanted it to be, I only want my ad to display for this exact word or phrase, but that's not necessary because that happens in broad too. So broad is kind of like the overarching, it'll take your main phrase, but it also take pieces of your phrase too. Mm-hmm. Got it. And then you want to deselect those and then add your however many keywords you find in here. And then before you hit add, make sure you custom bid and then bid what you want. I normally do for the targeted ones, Rob, I normally start at about 25 cents. You can go higher. You can even have it do suggested bid. Amazon, so depending on which keywords you enter in the system, Amazon will already have a suggested bid attached to that. Usually they're higher. So if you're putting 1,000 keywords in and you're spending, if you're spending 75 cents for a bunch of keywords, then you are probably going to hit that max range pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to do these campaigns and then spend a ton of money. We want to find the keywords that are really going to let us, spend less. Now, if you have a keyword that is a perfect fit for your book, then by all means put it at $1 or put it at something higher to get Amazon to display it. Mm-hmm. But for most of these targeted keywords, keep it at that 25 cent range and then adjust from there. If it does really well, you could potentially spend more. And like I said, if you do feel like the keyword's a good fit, you can individually adjust that keyword later on. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then we have this box here, and then do we just all of those things that we've compiled beforehand, just, copy paste with a comma in between each of them?
Yeah, so you can just copy and paste. If you definitely want to put it in a Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet. And then if it's in each cell, you can just copy the whole cell and just paste it in here. And then that'll work because it's separated by a line. So you just copy paste and then just hit the add keywords, and then Amazon will add all of your keywords right here.
Cool. And we'll go over that next week as well.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
And then negative keyword targeting, don't use that. And then this creative part right here.
So the negative keyword targeting, if we can, what's the purpose of that? If you specifically don't want to show up for certain things, is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, that's what that is. I have not delved into that too much to be able to see if that's really helpful. For me, in my approach, I feel like the more visibility, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do have things you're like, I definitely don't. I know who my audience isn't, and if you have that really kind of lock solid, that's definitely something you could put in there. For the most part, it's hard for me to think about situations where you would need that, because I think Amazon itself is going to probably be able to tell.
Yeah.
But if it's a situation where you know, and you're like, hey, Amazon might not know this, you could put it in there to be safe.
Right. So one of the examples that I can think of is, you and I have talked about this before. Your name, Jordan Ring, is, your website is jmring.com, partly because when I look up Jordan Ring, I get all sorts of articles about Michael Jordan and, the Chicago Bulls and his six basketball rings and, all these different debates. So, if you wanted to do the negative keyword targeting, that was the first thing that came to mind. Like, okay, look up Jordan Ring. Those will be important keywords, but nothing related to basketball, nothing related to Chicago, nothing related to, Air Jordan, nothing related to dunking, anything like that. So I can imagine that might be a situation where the negative keywords would be useful, although it is a little bit of an unusual situation. Not everybody has that.
Yep. Yeah, I do. And I have Google Alerts set up for my name, Rob. I don't know if I've shared you this with you before, but I only ever get things related to, someone mentioning Michael Jordan and his rings and, the basketball shoes and all that stuff, his Air Jordans. Right. And then also the Green Lantern, I guess the guy's name is Hal Jordan in that. Oh, yeah. So there's this article that goes out all the time that's Hal Jordan's rings. No, I don't need a Google alert for that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. That is potentially, I really do like that. I don't know if that I'm going to go through my ads and say, don't target Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Don't target sneakers. Don't target basketball. Yeah. Any of that.
Yeah. Cool. But if you wanted to be sure, it's something you could do.
Could do. Right.
And then this last part we're going to do here that we didn't do for the auto ads is, you're going to put in some copy here. So what this is going to show up, this is going to show up right down here. This is what your ad looks like is a preview. Really, you just want to keep this real short. And I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't know what we've used before. I potentially copy something from your sales copy if it's really good.
Something like build your business through publishing.
Yeah, something real short and punchy that, if the title needs a little bit more of an explanation and you want just people to have a little bit more information here. Yeah, if at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know what to say. I can't really think of anything there. That's okay. Then just scroll up and switch to this standard ad. But if you want to put more information in here and you think, hey, if I put a little bit more, then, that'll get people interested and people will want to click. If you can build curiosity or something there, that can be really good too.
Yeah. Oh, Jim mentioned something that it could be helpful. He says, I use the words free book for negative targeting. So you don't want to show up on the list of people who are searching for free books. Maybe your material obviously is paid, but you kind of are making a decision not to target that audience. So great insight, Jim. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Awesome. Thanks, Jim. The only other note with this, Rob, is you do have to be careful with your how you're formatting this. You don't want any, and I don't know if Amazon does have advertising policies right there, as you can see, but you do need to be careful with this. You don't want to put like capital words or too many exclamation points or things like that. Which if you're thinking sales copy, you probably aren't going to do that anyway. Yeah. But just note that, because that can kind of bottleneck your campaigns if they're getting removed, and then you have this organization that you're not sure what you need to do. Right. So just be thinking about that. No, don't put too many capitals, don't have it too long or anything like that. So, right. Okay. And the last campaign, and this really has to do more with keywords, so I don't think we have to go through this again. Sure. Basically, you're going to do the same exact thing that you do for this targeted, but instead you're just going to have more common keywords. This is basically as many keywords as you can find, even if they're not necessarily related to your book, because you're just kind of casting a really wide net. And you can find those keywords just by searching on, you could use the Google Keyword Planner and add keywords in there. Most of the keywords you're going to find is with Publisher Rocket. That's just just the quickest way, because they're going to, with that program, you can find other authors and other books. And that's why we talk about it so much, because it's just really helpful and really speeds things up.
Right.
But yeah, you could search your own keywords and put those in there. But yeah, I'm talking about, thousands of keywords. If you're talking about 3,000 keywords for the targeted, try to get your other campaigns up to the 10,000 range, where you're just really finding a ton of keywords that you could potentially work for your book. And then do a low bid on those, do like 14, 15 cents on those keywords, and really just try to cast the net wide on that.
Yep.
Like I said, that explanation has more to do with the keywords in that situation. You're really going to be doing the same, very, very same setup, and just doing, I just do common one, or however you want to organize it there. But yeah, really just spreading as much as you can.
Yep. Good deal. So common keyword campaigns. And again, we'll be getting more into that. I have some other questions. I imagine some folks out there might have some questions about finding those, but we will get them all next time. Number 6 here, how to not overspend by setting a portfolio. We kind of talked about this a little while ago. I interrupted, or I jumped the gun here.
Oh yeah.
But that is a feature that it sounds like you have available to you. You can create a portfolio and say, all right, in this portfolio, I only want to spend, $30 a month, or, whatever it is. And that is going to allow you to do that. Anything else that we should know about the portfolios?
No, all you have to do is just create a portfolio right here. And then as you're making the campaigns, you can put them in there. And if I were to create a portfolio right now, Rob, I could create that and name it, and then also put every one of these campaigns just by clicking this box. And then you could just hit a button right here, move to portfolio.
Oh, cool.
Which is really nice. All these options, they seem really simple, but these didn't used to exist. This dashboard used to be so much worse. It's really terrible. So even something like having a portfolio is kind of like gold to Amazon advertisers, which is very silly, but it's a very good thing to utilize. And even just as far as organization, if you have different books that you're advertising, you can put those in different portfolios, and you couldn't do that before. It was a kind of all in one and just a mess. But yeah, so that really does allow you to organize this a lot better. So you utilize that for sure.
Cool. All right. Moving on, number 7 here. Tweaking is a science. What should we look for? And we do have a few things listed under that heading, and I'll just cover them. We can discuss them all in mass.
Good deal.
Did you put in any irrelevant keywords in your targeting campaigns? If so, remove them. Is your ACOS too high? Can you add additional keywords? So that is, kind of the tweaking. What do you have to say about that, Jordan?
Yeah, I think tweaking definitely. You just want to think about those things that Rob just mentioned there, but just look at your numbers. I think really the first basis needs to be this: orders and clicks. If you're only getting a few orders and have several hundred clicks, and you're paying for that, potentially even stop your campaigns or immediately go and just work on your sales page. It's so important. I think it's just something that it can be very easy to gloss over that and not want to tweak that part because you're already done with it. And I get that, but if you're thinking about that's the number one area to tweak. All the little adjustments you're going to make to bids or removing keywords, all of that stuff can really help make your campaigns better. But as far as like a top level, you want to do that first.
Right.
But those things are great things to consider when you're doing your campaigns. You don't, if you have keywords that are, you're like, that's not even close to my thing. And maybe you have 10 clicks on that and no one has purchased from that keyword. Yeah, just pause it or remove it or lower the bid.
Or maybe add it to these this negative keyword campaign.
Oh yeah.
Like, I definitely don't want the people that are looking for Michael Jordan when they look for me. So I'm not going to pay for any more click-throughs when people are talking about how many rings he has.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Cool
deal.
All right. So I think that's it. We covered a number of different things. So hopefully, folks, this has been useful and constructive. And again, the goal was to kind of give you a place to start out with, a basic primer on Amazon advertising for books. Amazon does offer advertising for other things too, which is outside the scope of anything that we're talking about here. But I think it's a potentially really good tool. And again, let us know any thoughts, any questions, any comments that you have. Next week, we're going to get into those keywords and figuring all of that out. I know it sounds like a lot. It sounds crazy. You're like, how the heck am I going to come up with 3,000 different keywords or 10,000 keywords? Or, like, do I just pull the dictionary out and start listing words off? And we'll cover a little bit of that so that hopefully it's a little less intimidating and scary. And at the end of it, we'd like to see if that helps, give you the tools. So you're like, okay, I kind of have a sense of what I'm about. I can wrap my head around it. I know how to, not overspend. I know how to protect myself, and hopefully how to interpret whatever results I have, so that as I'm doing this and kind of paying attention and keeping tabs day by day or week by week, that I'm able to say, okay, yeah, that works. Let's do more of that. Or, hey, this doesn't work. Let me scale that back and redirect my energy elsewhere. Is there anything I missed there, Jordan? Anything else that you wanted to share on any of that?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jim, for stopping in and for sharing some thoughts and questions and comments. And folks, let us know any thoughts or things that you're interested in. And next week, we'll look forward to chatting a little bit about keywords and hopefully demystifying the process that much further so that you can give it a shot yourself and hopefully see some good results.
Good deal.
All right, everybody, have a great evening, and we will see you next time.